Good at introductions. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the SNOWcast. Is this the first ever one? I think it is. We've got a few people here today. My name is Nob the Rabbit, also known as Silas. Have we got Mark here?
I'm here.
Hello, Mark. Mr. Rigby, captain of one of the club ladder teams. Have we got Colin, also known as Nylock?
We have. I am here. Thank you, sir.
Hello, Colin. Yes, and we also have our resident Mr. Chris Lawrence. Are you here? You better be.
I am. Morning, Silas.
Excellent. Hello. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Top of the class. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a few segments. We've got half an hour. I'm only going to be speaking, can you believe it, for maybe 3 minutes, nothing more. If you can see my screen, Mr. Lawrence.
Catching me out already.
Good. Just like we rehearsed. I've got my Zwift profile, so I shouldn't be pedaling.
There we go.
Can you see it? Yes, so this is me. I'm apparently level 78, racing score 494, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what some of these mean, but there you go. That is me. So what else am I doing? I'm going to show you a recap or a video, if you like. Whoa, what's that? I'll have to stop sharing and then reshare this screen from ZRL earlier in the week. In fact, it was on Tuesday. Can you see this now?
Yep.
Can they see that, Chris? Yeah. So this is early on the race in Douce, France. Those of you that raced it, you'll know. Very flat-ish courses after the intestines, and we're coming to the sprint. I decided, I don't know why, to go for FTS, not really reaping many points, but I just wanted to show what happened to Nob, thinking, I'll stay at the back. You can see it's the ballon sprint or the balloon sprint. Everybody's starting to heat things up with the old fire socks. Somebody's off the front already going for foul. I'm thinking, well, I might as well try and get FTS. It's not is it 200? Yeah, 210 meters. It's not a particularly long sprint. And I thought all the training, all the training I've been given through, people like Jake, our resident snow captain, with the sprint series, things like this. I'm thinking, right, I'll start at the back. My numbers go red. I'm going through the pack. I don't go through the whole pack. And I'm thinking, surely I'll get a decent FTS time here. I've gone through the start, obviously there, full swing, hitting 65, 66K. I'm obviously very tired. I passed Robin there, one of our teammates. Bang! I don't even get in the top 10. Rubbish. What went wrong? Why did I do that? Right, who's laughing?
No
one. All right, okay. Anyway, I'll stop sharing that. So what went wrong, Colin?
You basically didn't pedal hard enough.
I didn't pedal hard enough, did I?
No, mate.
No.
What happened is you were where you were at the back, and that was great to draft the sprint through. But to be fair, everyone at the front was doing 12 and 11 watts per kilo. So,
it was bad. It was bad. I didn't have a good finish at all in that race. But there you go. That's what you should do.
Did you get a PR though?
Did I? Well, that's probably because I've been on that sprint for.
No, I'm asking, did you, or was it just?
Oh, did I? No. Oh no, I did. Sorry, no, I did. It's there. It's there. I don't know whether
take something away from it, then, can't you?
Yeah, that I'm an idiot. All right. Never mind. Right. I'm currently in Zwift. I don't know whether you can see this now. Can you see it? Share it.
You can.
There we are.
Yes, and I'm look at that! Look at that! I'm actually trying to find Sasquatch, and there he is. Who's seen him? Look at him! Yeah. There he is. He's like the Gruffalo. Oh, hey, don't hide. There he is.
Yeah.
There he is. What timing? God, it was as if I'd rehearsed that. The other thing I wanted to show people, because I've done it before several times, is if you inadvertently, whilst doing a route, so I'm on coast to coast here, I've still got 21 kilometers left to go, inadvertently press U-turn. Oh no, quick, I want to carry on my route. No, you've lost it. If you're that daft, you don't deserve to stay on the route, and you'll lose the route badge. So don't do a U-turn. Right, last thing I wanted to screen share. Chris, I don't know whether you can help me here.
Tell me
Can
when.
you see now? Have you seen, you guys, this new trainer?
Yeah,
The Elite Square.
the Elite Square.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
I have not seen that before. Genuinely thought that was some botched garage thing until I realised I was looking at a genuine thing. I thought, wow.
No, I spotted it quite a few months back.
Yeah,
I've been waiting for it to come out because you can actually hook it up to the Elite Riser, which is one of the things that the Zwift Ride you can't do, which I think is a massive oversight. The one thing that I love is my kicker climb.
Yeah, so you're talking about this thing here, the Zwift in the front. Yeah.
So the fact that you can actually still get the gradient change as well with it.
Uh-huh.
And it looks pretty well dam adjustable as well. I don't know if you noticed, but if you look at the cracks,
you can
actually
adjust
the crank
adjustable
lever dynamically just by rotating the inner threads.
Yeah, they like the Yes, so that looks fully adjustable. Yeah. It looks pretty robust. It's a thing as well.
There you go. That's the bit.
Yeah.
The end of the crank arms.
Yeah. Oh, it's pretty cool. It's not the most pretty looking thing,
elegant.
But no,
it's functional.
Yeah. Just I'm not sure a square is the shape, but it's pretty cool. I like it. I do. I think it was. I found the price was about.
Triangle.
I think it was about 1,100 quid at the moment or something.
How much did you say?
About 1,100 or 1,200 quid. That might have been dollars, actually. But anyway, there you go. That was my bit.
I think I'd still buy and put a really cheap aluminium frame on the turbo trainer if you were wanting something dedicated indoors.
Yeah.
You can still build something up a lot cheaper.
Yes, possibly. Ladies and gentlemen,
Knobs
finished talking.
Not the trainer, it's not the riser, it's the frame and the cranks, the belt.
Yes, yeah, it's still quite pricey. How many minutes was that? Have I behaved myself?
Not at all.
You've done well.
You've used up our entire segment for us introducing ourselves as well, so thank you.
Great.
Excellent work. Yeah, that bike.
Who's next?
Cool.
Chris, are you up next? You got something to enlighten us all with some rather interesting information about, how can people get cued?
Oh, right. Contentious subject or what?
It is. Well, it does happen. It does affect us all.
It does. I mean, where do you start with this one? If you go back over all of the history of Zwift and stuff, it's like, well, not everybody's on Zwift Power for a start. But if you were registered on Zwift Power, which it took me many years to actually do myself, I registered for Zwift in 2015. But I didn't actually have my first race on Zwift until 2019. So, and I race like pretty much several times a week, and it's like my bread and butter these days. I do it more than going.
How many times a week?
People will know. But if you look back on Zwift Power, in terms of getting disqualified, you could have like no heart rate monitor. You could go as basic as that, or you could have Z Power, which is your old speed and cadence, not a proper turbo trainer, not a proper power source. And then there was like going over your old categories, where you got watt per kilowatt and stuff like that, or generally just being an absolute fool and harassing people in a race. And if it was an organizer doing it that wasn't Zwift HQ, then people might go in and go, do you know what, I'm just going to chuck you out because you had bad language or something. It could be as simple as that. But I mean, it's getting a bit more sophisticated these days. We've got more and more community organisers who are looking and diving deeper into the data. It's something we've talked about internally in the team. And we've had scenarios where we have actually seen it in our team, and we've addressed it, and rightly so. And that's the likes of sprint coasting, where people throw the power down for a few seconds and then come off the pedals, come off the gas, and then they do it again, and then they come off, and then they do it again, and they keep repeating this. And it's like microbursting, it's called. Sprint coasting, on off. And it's whether you really think that you're gaining an unfair advantage or not, but some organisers will see it as, well, that's just an unusual pedaling style more than anything, and you just simply wouldn't do that outside if you were in a proper environment. But you can get away with it in Zwift.
Yeah.
In terms of, no one's there to tell you anything better, if you know what I mean.
Have you got any examples of that, like what that looks like at all? Or
I was going to come on if you combine that with sticky watts, which is whereby your trainer or your equipment doesn't transmit power, and you get like a blank slot, and then Zwift itself says, okay, I've not received anything for a few seconds for you, I'm just going to fill that gap with whatever I saw last. And if you're combining that with sprint coast, then you're going to get a high value, and it's going to hold that high value, then drop off, and then you do it again, which is why I think some people do that. And when people see that in the stats, you're more than likely going to get a contact the organizer style DQ code. It's not strictly a DQ, it's just we want to know more about it. But yeah, share this just as an example of what we're talking about here. You guys can't see that, can you?
Not yet.
Not yet.
There we go. You guys should see that as well. The viewers can.
Yeah.
But what we've got is, if I zoom in on this, that's the wrong way. So if you zoom in on this, you can see where it's literally blue line is cadence and black is power.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see that there's been a big effort to get the power up, and then it's flatlined and then gone down. That's a combination of sprint coast to get the power up, and then flat line is your sticky watts, and then it drops off, and then it's like, oh, we've got zero power. And
so that flat line, how many seconds is that on nice graph?
I think it can be about between 3 and 5 seconds. Someone will know better than me. But
which is an advantage if you're not. Yeah,
I've seen it at least for 3 seconds on occasions. I can't show you on this one because it's a screenshot. But you can see it's repeated over and over and over and over and over. It's constant in this example.
Yes. And that rider probably got flagged up.
Because
it happens automatically, doesn't it? In a lot of ladder races.
It depends. There's some organisers that analyze, like literally go on and grab the data and run it through a parsing tool to actually analyze it and flag things. They do it on an automated basis, but not many organisers do that because they don't have the tools. It's something that I'd love to see Zwift adopt, because it would stop all these sticky watt sprint coasting scenarios in like Z racing, which are quite frankly very difficult to race against these style of people. And if one person sees someone doing it, the next person and the next person, you're going to get more of it because they get away with it.
Yeah. Very interesting.
But isn't sticky watts down to, like you say, it's a drop-in connection of the internet?
Yeah, the sticky watts
it's not like
a latency
type of trainer
issue where you get a zero value, and basically the game itself goes, oh, I've not seen anything, I'll infill that data.
Yeah.
And then it goes, I'll do it for so long, but I'm not going to infill it forever, otherwise you just get someone just putting power down and then literally just stopping, and then they win the race. Do you know what I mean? So they've got to have a threshold. But if there's one thing that I'd love to see in Zwift, is that they actually took this is a rigged event. We don't do the infill of this data, and it just kills that problem. But you still get the sprint coast, but you get rid of the sticky watts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But isn't it like an old bit of coding that they've put in there from the very start?
Oh, it's been there for a very, very long time, I believe. I don't know the actual facts, but this has been prevalent in the game since forever, as far as I know.
Yeah.
They just need to think about a way of factoring in how to phase it out. And if they were to do it in this is a race event, let's just target these, they can go just a basic if statement on it and just go, if it's a race event, don't use this feature or disable this feature. It'd just be a good place to start, I reckon.
Yeah, but the problem is with Zwift as well. I think there's only something like 7% of all Zwifters race.
I know, yeah. So if you think about it, if they were to go through like a change control process, then the number of affected users that they're talking about, it'd be a lower risk issue, wouldn't it? So if they made a mess,
I mean,
the race community can be very sensitive. We all know it. We all are. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, it's something that I've said before, that I thought if they introduced a sort of race subscription, so if you want to race, you pay £2 a month or £3 a month extra, and then races are more scrutinised as such.
Sorry, you're talking about price hikes. People are going to love you for that.
No, but what I'm saying is, it's
drop the main subscription, drop it, like reduce that to like £8 or something, and then
I know it's difficult, but if you want to race and you want to, for me, I can race, and people are in there that are probably not quite correct. People don't change their weight. People, they will have whatever trainers or power meters that are not quite right. But if you want to race and you do worry about it, then surely you'd pay the extra.
Maybe,
got a good point.
Maybe you go through that and you say, well, I'm a premium user for racing, and I can enter those specific types of events. But the calendar itself, it's chock-a-block in some time zones at prime time, but in other time zones, it isn't. A bit of a shout out to Mr. Eric Lee, I guess. Don't get dropped cycling. He is going through a motivational issue right now because there's so few races that he can do in his time zone.
We were looking at races yesterday, me and Silas were, and it's quite confusing because I was clicking on a race where I could join A and B pen. I was clicked on another race where I could only join A. There was another pen where
they're all different ranges. They overlap, don't they?
And it's really confusing. It's like, why? I'm not being funny, but why would I join a race if I could only join the A pen? Because my racing score was something. I think it's 575, and I think the race that I could join was up to 570. In the B, so I was very bottom of A, but the next one was up to 580, so I'd be the top end of a B. It's just really confusing. You need to sort it out.
The racing scores, I think they're still settling down. That's a whole different can of worms if you want to talk about that. A lot of people know my opinion on it. It's not fantastic. It's still settling down, giving it more time. But yeah, it's difficult. My thoughts on that is, have you ever rented any of these? Have you entered a race whereby it's a range of 0 to 1,000, so it's literally just an open pen?
Yes.
They're awesome. They get big turnouts, and you know what? You find people at your level to race with partway through. If there's a hill at the start, then obviously it's like, well, get over the hill and don't get dropped as best as possible. But if it's a flat one, then people do get whittled down, and then you end up racing around people of your own ability.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I joined the race yesterday, was the same. Basically, all pens started. But then what I found is a couple of A's had tapped about 15 kilometers into this 47k race. And then I'm sat there looking around on Source, who are people around me. And after 20k, there's 3 A's, 4 B's, 2 C's, and 3 D's. And you're like, and then
the racecraft in there from the C's.
And the my GCSEs.
Yeah, and the A's attack, and then the C's and the D's go after them. And I'm like, I'm getting dropped. So it's like, how are they even in the deep end if they can do that? And they're pushing 3.8.
They haven't put the effort in until then. They'll score some points, but will they move up to the next category? Don't think they will. Not fast enough.
Exactly. But they shouldn't be able to still compete with A's. But there you go.
Maybe they're doing some of these techniques. Maybe we need to look at them.
The techniques that I do when I'm at the end of a race and I'm absolutely hanging out my backside. That's nice.
But no,
sorry.
Just going back, the only other things I can think of. I mean, it's a non-exhaustive list, but other reasons for getting DQs. You can have hardware enforcement. It's not a DQ scenario, but you can be prevented from entering a race if you don't have like a proper power meter source, or you don't have a heart rate monitor. Hardware-based enforcement.
Yeah.
And we touched on behaviour and lack of etiquette as well. So
I always behave myself.
Hardware enforcement. There was talk a while back of the Zwift racing score. We were talking about that just a minute ago, about the on-entry enforcement of your racing score. Because right now, if you've got a low racing score, you can go into the future events and sign up. And it doesn't stop you from signing up and entering them, even if your score is higher by the time you enter the race. But they were talking about having a on-entry enforcement of double-checking your score. And I was thinking about that this morning. I was like, how are they going to do it? I don't know whether it's in place yet. They were talking about it, but I think they most likely haven't got it just yet. But I was kind of thinking along the lines of, well, the A pen starts sooner than the B, then the C, then the D. So if you're getting checked for racing score, then surely you need the D pen to start first, because otherwise it'll be like, well, you can't be re-entered into the other pen because the other pen's already started.
Yeah.
And that's just going to knock people off, isn't it? Because you don't get your race fix.
Yeah.
Which brings me back to the whole, why not just 0 to 1,000 and just race the race? Sign up.
Yeah. No, exactly. And
everyone starts at the same time. Mass start events are good fun. They're not for everyone, though. So then it'd be like, well, start at 0 to 1,000, but at the time of entering the pen, you've then got to go, right, what is your score? And then you've got to load balance it and kind of filter it around a bit, but then not everyone enters the pen at the same time, so you need a cut-off time. And I think all these sort of scenarios and these factors are what's holding that up, if it's being held up, because I don't really see how they can do it. Other platforms have managed things, but I think they've got a cut-off time.
Yeah.
It's all very interesting, Mr. Lawrence.
Right, second to go, I'm in. It's like, it's not easy work. I can appreciate the effort that needs to go into it, but this whole Zwift racing score, it's not simple. It's not easy to understand. People are being under and overseeded, I think, still. It's difficult for them. It's the community have shouted out and said, bring us this. And it's like, well, we're having a go, but it's taking time.
Yeah. Well, I don't understand any of it. So
You're not
too many abbreviations.
Fix some problems, but introduce more. Goalposts changed too far.
Yeah.
Let's move. Mark, I believe, Mr. Rigby, you have some interesting things to talk about with regards to a certain ladder race that took place on, when was it? What day are we on? On Friday. So 2 days a week, 2 days ago, 24th, was it?
Yeah. So a quick review of Snow Springs versus Zwift Ladies.
Oh yes.
Right. So
have you got the screen share up?
Nope. No, I'm on a phone. I'm afraid I haven't.
Did you want me to do that?
If you don't mind,
it probably would be helpful.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And I can point you to the timestamp as to what I'm talking about.
Roger. Right.
What you're talking about, that you got. So if people don't know, Mark is the ladder springs captain, and you are Silas are the vice captain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the club ladder. Okay, Mark. It should be shared now.
Yeah.
Should be able to see that.
So quick background for those ladder is essentially all teams are essentially stacked from 1 to, I think it's about 150 now, isn't it? I think teams on the ladder, and you challenge or defend. So a team, so say Springs, if we challenge a team above us, we then move up into their spot, and the opposing team moves ones down. The challenging team sets the course. So when an event is agreed, it's then up to the challenging captain to look at what course they want. So I look at my roster, my availability, look at the team that we're riding against, and try and pick a course that best suits our needs rather than theirs. So in this instance, we were looking at a team that all had very good watts per kilos, very good 5 to 20 minutes watts per kilos, but we had an advantage in terms of raw watts. So in my mind, I'm looking at flat courses, no hills, or nothing where 5 minute power or something like that's required.
What course was this one?
Neokio Crit I went for in the end. We've raced it a few times. It's flat, it's fast, in the hope that raw watts will trump watts per kilo.
And what were the tactics that we had?
So again, looking at raw watts trumping watts per kilo, I was looking at lap 1, just sit in, let's see if they show their hand. Lap 2, I was looking at the rides just after the alley sprint to attack as a team. All 4 of us, we went 4v4 with this race because of our opposition's availability. And then the slight attack point just after the castle sprint. Castle sprint point is a Castle Garden sprint. So we were going to look lap 2 onwards, attacking at those points, and even if we didn't successfully drop anyone, hopefully wear down their power sufficiently so that we can use our advantage that we had from 15 seconds to 3 seconds.
So what you're watching here is the very first few minutes of the race.
So as I'd said, lap 2 we were looking to attack. So we were going to sit in, see if they showed their hand. At 1.7 kilometers, about 3 minutes in, 3 minutes 45 in. The lady on the front now, 1.ZWB.
Yeah, this one.
Yep.
The one without steering.
Yep. So she attacks us at 1.7k, and
I'll just move it on
the group. So as you can see, we respond really quickly to it, as you'll see in a sec, and leaves 3 of their riders behind.
She's on the front now.
Yep, so she's just about to go now.
I think she uses a burrito as well.
Yep, you'll see the burrito go.
So we weren't expecting this. There she goes.
So we respond. there's a point where the group splits. We have Kev, Chris, and Chris up in front.
Chris Waddrop's just behind me there.
Yeah,
I'm going.
he comes through.
Yeah.
This is my favourite bit, by the way.
Yeah.
That doesn't help you, does it, Silas?
Not really, but never mind.
Nothing that Chris would ever say to anyone throwing a burrito in their face. Yeah.
It was quite funny.
Yes.
So what's the plan here, Mark?
So
We're
it
watching
stays like
3
this
of us
for
get
now.
away.
So we are looking at you, Silas, closing that gap a little bit. But then we'll see in a sec their team captain will come flying through in a second.
Yeah. I ease off here because I'll just let
Yeah.
my 3 teammates get away. Chris, and Kev. Almost there.
Yeah. So you let that gap go in the hope that if they wanted to chase
There
and
she
get back,
goes.
they would bring
No,
you
let's
back.
go.
Yeah.
There she goes. Looking like
Yeah.
she's on a TT bike on my screen, but she wasn't. It was one of them
So-
weird Zwift glitches.
Yeah. So Femke successfully gets onto the 3 riders in front.
Yeah.
Rest
This
up,
is,
Silas.
Phenomenal effort.
With
Remember
these.
that, it really was.
Yeah. So the gap, it hangs around 20 seconds for a while. Gets up to about 40 at one point. At 18 minutes 50, Femke decides she's had enough. Decides to make things hard for the
You won't
3
say,
lads.
you
with
won't
her.
say on it. Yeah, she's. I think you see her power numbers go up somewhere here. There she
Yeah.
goes.
And
Yeah.
she
Obviously,
actually
this is
pulls
just
out.
me.
A massive attack on us there. It was. I
Yeah.
was like, "You, Kev and Chris, you've got to go after that." I was gassed.
I think she pulls about 8 seconds at one
She
point.
did, yeah. Very
But
painful.
then eased off a little bit and then came back together.
Yeah, we let her dangle out there for a little bit.
Yep.
We closed so much of the gap, and then we kind of left a few seconds and thought, well, sprint power is going to win it here if that's what it's going to come to. But
Yeah. So
What was
status
quite
quo
funny,
for a
sorry,
little
what was
while.
quite funny there is that I said I was messing at Mayo, and I went, "Oh, she's doing really well here, but I think she's going to attack in a minute." And just as I said send, because quite a lot of us were watching it, and I looked up at the screen and she was attacking. I was like, "Oh, yeah, there you go." But yeah, good strong rider she was.
Yeah, it was quite a stinging attack, and we had highlighted at the start that I think if anyone was going to go long, we suspected it would be Femke. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing the name correctly.
Femke.
So the next key point that I noticed was at 26 minutes, the 4 riders in front had quite a gap, and Silas had been sitting in nicely, so it was a case of right, okay, let's have a go.
At this point
see
here,
if you can.
you're telling me, and remember, you're telling me you need to go at some point soon. And in hindsight, I should have never been in this position, and I should have been but never mind. And I should have gone earlier if anyway. But yeah, you're telling me at some point go. So I'd made the decision to go on this lap with the burrito in a bit.
Just after the banner, here you go.
Yeah, so these girls should have. There I go now.
Yeah, so
they should have been attacking me loads.
Power up there, may I say.
Yeah.
Drop the burrito.
There's 2 schools of thought there in that I could have asked you to go earlier and you would have been able to bridge, but you could have dragged them through as well. Yes. We were in an advantageous position as it was, so there was no real desperation for us to get you up into that group at that point. As you say, we could have done it earlier, but there was no real need to at that point. No. It was just a case of hopefully securing our positions for the victory after that. So you successfully do get away, and you end up pulling a 30 second gap, I think it was, by the end. and you were
so
very close to getting back on.
There was a point where it was
front.
quite literally in no man's land, 20 seconds forwards and 20 seconds back.
Yeah.
I bet you saw that, didn't you, Silas, and thought, what am I doing?
Oh, no.
So
I remember I gave up.
Your chain fell off at one point as well, didn't it?
Yeah, let's say that.
So the next bit I noticed was at 29 minutes, 10 seconds. So just as they're coming out of the gardens, Chris has a little go on the front to stretch things out. So I think, Chris, at this point, you're thinking that I'm not going to have much of a sprint.
Yeah, Femke's got a sprint. I don't feel like I had a sprint in me that day. So I did a few minutes. I think I did about 2 kilometers on the front or something like that, just to stretch it out, and make her chase on. And then obviously, hopefully that tired her out a bit to allow Kev and Chris with their big sprints to do what they do.
You're about to see.
Yeah. And then at 35:55, you'll see the sprint. Again, I think good example of the Snow Sprint series when it was running. Chris lined himself up at the back, and you'll see him launch through. And before anyone, there's only Kev able to react to that. Kev goes, Chris sits in front for a short while.
Drop a burrito anytime. Come on.
Yeah,
he drops a burrito. Just
has
to
a little
kick her while she's down.
Drains the rest of the legs. And then, Femke said she's just recovering from the flu as well. So that effort was amazing. It was certainly kept you three on your toes all the way. And as I say, could have been a very different story another day.
Well, I think if they'd have got another rider up there, it would have been a different
a 3v1. It should have been easier. She made that hard.
Yeah. So it was another victory. Gets us just above the Zwift ladies, now up into 79th. So next
they want a rematch race, probably.
Yeah. Next race is a play-on match against one of the art teams.
Oh, is it?
Next Friday. Yeah. So again, same again. Once the challenge has been made with their team, have a look at their sorts of powers and the course that they've chose, and then I'll have a look at our availability and put a plan in place from there.
Roger. Thank you very much, Mark. Well done. Very interesting stuff.
Well done.
I believe we're going to Nylog, aka Colin.
Well,
what have you got, Colin?
Well, I was hoping to get someone on in the future going forward. We probably get a snow team member on.
Yes.
We'll
plenty of snow members.
Ask them a few questions. I've got a couple lined up.
Go on then.
But team members to come on, but I can't get them on today. So I was hoping to get Patrick on, but Patrick's racing my whoosh. He's done really well the past few weeks. He's won a couple.
Did he tell you how much money he's won?
Yeah, he's quite a lot.
We asked him the other day, didn't we? We were like, wow, that's actually worth it. We should all jump
to about €900 at one point.
A bit more than that.
Was there? Okay.
Yeah,
I heard, five grand.
I heard some 4 figures.
Was it?
Yeah.
5k or something like that. I think he's had.
That's amazing.
That's from wins, podiums, sprints, and all sorts that he's got.
Yeah. So,
are you cold, Mark?
Normally on my whoosh, we normally watch the stream of my whoosh, him racing on YouTube on a Sunday while we're riding. Then he joins us after, and we basically ask him how he's done and how much money me and Silas are going to get from being his agents.
Exactly.
He's kind of a bit. He doesn't disclose that much money that he's won lately. So going to get a couple of guests on and ask them some questions. I've got some questions. See, Patrick's still racing. He did say it was going to be a long race, so we're probably not going to get him on today.
But
what I thought we'd do, kind of quick question. I've got some quick fire questions, and I've got some more in-depth questions. But you three are here, so what we'll do, these questions to you, and if you give me the answer first, that'll do. All right. So basically, what I'll do, I'll start by asking one of you two, whoever knows or wants to give me the answer, we'll do it that way. So, when did you start Zwifting? What year?
Chris said 2015.
Yeah, I dug out my original registration email earlier on this morning. I was like, sure it was then. I was thinking Zwift Power says 2016, but that's just when I signed up to Zwift Power.
Wow.
But yeah, 2015 August, I think it was. Yeah. Couldn't get on straight away, annoyingly. I registered. I couldn't get on straight away because I didn't have a 64-bit version of Windows, and it was driving me mad. So I had to rebuild my machine and then get on.
Brilliant, brilliant. And why did anyone start Zwifting? What was the reason? Is it the same reason as me? I don't like the cold, and I don't like having cold feet.
Don't like the cold.
I'm saying it was my brother.
Stronger, and yeah, it's IT. It was definitely so, yeah.
And you started, that's what you're saying?
My brother got me into indoor training for the cyclocross racing. He wasn't doing Zwift, but he thought I would like it, so I signed up. I think it was 2020 I joined. Right. Feels like a long time ago, but yeah, 2020. Mark?
It was COVID I joined. So
yeah.
With there being, well, I was still riding because being in the NHS, I only ever commuted by bike, so I got my outdoor fix still. But then obviously everyone was talking about. I was a member of Cleveland Wheelers at the time, and everyone was talking about TTTs and things like that. And I'm, what on earth? So I ended up buying a tax floor and getting started that way. And then a few years later,
I remember hearing your tax flow quite loud on Discord.
Yeah.
TTT, yes.
Yeah.
Did you have a blue rubber tire on the back of it that used to leave blue bits everywhere?
It sounded like you had a Romney on the back, to be honest.
No, I had my road tyres initially, an old wheel, but suffered a few punctures.
Yes.
And then eventually bought the thick blue thing, and then upgraded to a Wahoo kicker core.
Brilliant.
And then at some point, was it 3 seasons ago, invited to join Snow, and you've been stuck with me ever since.
Perfect. Next question: how did you find Snow, and who got you involved?
Oh, right. Now then, I think it was one of our committee members who was pretty much running the TTTs at the time, Tom. I think it was Tom that started pointing out the Snow Race League on a Wednesday night. And I'd spotted the sprint series on the Saturdays. So it was a combination of both of us, and we were like, right, okay. And then all the Cleveland Wheelers used to start racing the Snow Series events, which was D-Side Thistle and
it was D-Side, at the time.
D-Side.
And it was fantastic, and we really enjoyed those particular events before we find like ZRL and stuff like that. But it was really good turnouts for the event at the time, and it's hopefully it still is. But it was that, and then as time went on, and then obviously proper in real life cycling club, people start going back outdoors again. There's a few of us that like racing all year round on Zwift as well. Some unfortunately like myself go indoors more than out, but it was literally just we'd seen these events and we were like, okay, there's some really canny people in this club, and kind of got talking, and then one of our members joined Snow, Richard Carter.
Remember Rich?
Oh yes,
of a top end sprinter. He's a track cyclist by nature. And obviously it was like, well, I kind of opened the dialogue to say, look, is there any openings for other people to join because obviously we wanted to be racing as a team, but we didn't have enough people in the wheelers doing Zwift racing as a team to guarantee we had enough people to do it. So we started talking to the likes of Jake and Coach, and then we, it was like, yeah, come and join us.
Brilliant.
And that was just an open door. It's like literally just more of us talked about it. It was like, oh well, he's jumped ship.
Yeah.
Let's do that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Now you're in a podcast.
Oh no! Yeah.
I can remember you coming across.
The number of people that came across from our club was there was Richard, there was me, Mark, Chris Wadrup. We've got Steve Tilley as well. And there was Alex as well.
Jamie.
We haven't seen Alex for a while. I need to catch up with him.
Yeah, I remember Alex.
I don't think he's been on Zwift for quite a while. I think he's taken a break from it.
Right.
But he was a serious sprinter as well.
Yeah, what was it? The Tom? You say the name?
Tom Level. He's still races. You'll have seen him still doing the recent series. He's still
he's joined me on the last couple of.
He'd got some sprint points, but then his PC bombed out. Yeah, unfortunately.
Good.
But yeah, we all that.
Next question was, this is a good one. Who's your favourite mate?
Oh.
Okay, next question. Sorry, right, we'll leave that one then because it's not me. Has anybody tried? I'll ask Patrick this, but you can ask. I don't know if you've tried it. My Whoosh compared to Zwift. Has anybody tried My Whoosh?
Not yet.
I
use a laptop
on it.
Yeah, I use a laptop currently, and I'm kind of teetering on how long this is actually going to last me on Zwift. I understand Mouse is quite heavy on the requirements. Yeah. I am in the process of building
deodorant.
a PC.
For stinky dogs or something.
Okay, then what is your pre-race routine?
So I get hydrated. I drink a lot of water. Drink a lot of water, electrolytes, because I always suffer with cramps if I'm whatever, and I make sure I warm up. And now my warm-ups have evolved to at least around 40 minutes of steady riding with a bit of high RPM or high cadence drills, 2 or 3 of those, and it never works because I'm always rubbish. So yeah, it's really rubbish. Good. Well, true, most of the time. Anybody else?
Some like injuries in like the past couple of years, I've had like back issues and things. I'm doing stretches for a good 10-15 minutes before getting on the bike, and then I run out of time to actually do pedaling to do the rest of the warm up, and then it's like straight in. But I've got to do my stretches. I can't do anything else. But like Silas says as well, hydration, loads of water. Make sure that your fans are working.
Yeah.
Make sure everything's in reach of what you need, and tight shoes. Tighten your Boa dials. Make sure you got that because you need them for the sprint.
Mine's normally 3 trips to the toilet.
I was keeping that inside. Everyone knows that one.
and then it used to be a 10-minute warm up, but now it's since I've been doing Source and OBS, it's now 10 minutes before a race.
Panning about,
clicking buttons on a computer and swearing at it, and then realizing that the pen's open and they've all gone, and I'm still trying to start OBS. So
yeah, I think that's probably where I struggled on Friday's ladder. So that bit where I was like, I couldn't follow Femke. It was like I only had 2 kilometers warm up at the start of that race.
It's not good enough. Mark, what about you?
I usually have every intention of getting on about half an hour for what I try and do is some steady riding, but then spin the legs for 30 seconds at 100 PM and do a few little intervals like that just to try and get the heart rate up and things like that. Reality, unfortunately, is usually a little bit of procrastinating leads to a little bit more procrastinating, and then jumping on with 5 or 10 minutes to go.
That's exactly what I plan to do and what I fail at doing for the same reasons, man.
And
Okay.
there's usually some disaster in the house, which means I'm mucking about. And...
Yeah, brilliant. So, on average, how many miles a week or kilometres do you ride on Zwift?
About 120.
Is this another thing that you want me to put in a spreadsheet for you? So we've got this.
Yeah, actually, that'd be really good.
That's my next job, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, we got to keep you busy. What about hours? How many hours a week do we spend riding?
As many as possible.
Varies. 5 or 6, something like that. I don't know.
This was a good one for Patrick, because Patrick's is about 16 hours a week.
Yes.
It's 16 hours a day, isn't it, for Patrick?
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah,
it's easier to find out how many hours he spends off the bike.
Right then, so we got five questions for you. Really quick fire. I just want your first answer, okay?
Lima.
So, Alp or Epic Com?
Epic Com.
Epic.
Right.
Not the radio tower.
Yeah, not that. Ramp test or a full FTP?
Ramp.
Just do a race.
I knew that was coming.
Just do a race.
Cheese or chocolate?
Chocolate.
Oh, chocolate. Chocolate flavoured cheese.
I want to say cheese, but it's chocolate. Yeah. But not always for the right reasons.
Gravel or road?
Oh, well, road. I'm going to say gravel.
I know you're a cross rider.
No, I went on a gravel ride for the first time quite a while ago. Sorry, quick fire. I love gravel rides. They are fantastic, but I don't do them very often.
And this one was definitely for Patrick, but this one's now going to be for Silas.
Oh,
what was your last AliExpress buy?
Some cable cutters, I think. Wire stripper.
Interesting.
Well, or a stapler. You buy a lot from AliExpress, so if you had to think that hard.
I know I do. Shh. I get in trouble. Nothing here, nothing happening.
Right. And that's it. That concludes my questions.
Your segment.
So
right. So what time are we on?
Well, we've only run about 20 minutes over.
Yeah.
So.
Oh dear. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the SNOWcast. Next SNOWcast will be announced soon. We'll have all sorts of guests and more brilliant insights, racing tips, training tips, all sorts of things like that. So it's thank you from me and goodbye. Thank you from
Mark.
All right, cheers, guys.
No, you're Colin.
Thanks to everyone who's watching.
No, I know who I am. I just want to get.
Who's ending this?
This can only get better.
I want to get off.
Yeah. So cheers for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.
Take care.
Bye.
Cheers, guys.